Buenas noches. Hello, hello. Good evening and welcome to the official draw for the 2022-2023 Concacaf Nations League presented by Qatar Airways. My name is Lindsay Casinelli and I'll be your host for tonight's event. I'm thrilled to be here with you. A big welcome to all fans and participating teams who are following us live from around the region and the world. To officially kick off tonight's event and the second edition of this exciting competition, it is my pleasure to introduce CONCACAF President, Mr. Victor Montagliani.
Welcome to the draw for the 2022-2023 Concacaf Nations League. This competition has been central to our football-first philosophy in CONCACAF. The first edition clearly demonstrated that has been transformational for our men's national team programs in our region. It has provided players with the opportunity to compete in more official matches. It also has ensured that coaches can test themselves against the very best in our region. By including qualification to the Gold Cup and promotion and relegation between editions, every single match is compelling for fans in stadiums and watching at home. Prior to this competition being introduced, more than half of our federations had no real platform to compete and improve between World Cup qualification cycles. The CONCACAF Nations League has filled this void to the benefit of all our federations. It has provided a consistent set of matches to allow every CONCACAF men's national team to strive to reach the next level. I know that my 41 member association presidents will be eagerly watching tonight, anticipating this draw. I would like to thank them sincerely for their huge support in delivering this competition, and to thank the media and the fans for getting behind the CONCACAF Nations League. I hope you all enjoyed today's draw, and I can't wait for the opening 2022-23 CONCACAF Nations League matches in June. Thank you all.
I can't wait either. No puedo esperar yo tampoco. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much to President Montagliani for those opening remarks. To continue with this opening of this event, please welcome to the stage CONCACAF's General Secretary, Philippe Moju. Hola, Philippe. Bienvenido. Welcome.
Thank you, Lindsay. Hola. Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be here to officially kick off the second edition of our CONCACAF Nations League.
And we are very excited after the first edition, which was awesome. Philippe, we heard earlier from CONCACAF President Victor Montagliani that this competition is transforming men's national team football in the region. Can you elaborate on that and explain to our viewers why CONCACAF introduced the Nations League?
Thank you, Lindsay, for hosting this great event tonight. And thank you for our fans and our members watching at home. This feels like it's draw season, right? We just had a fantastic FIFA World Cup draw in Doha just 3 days ago. So it's very exciting for us to follow up with this Nations League draw for the second edition. And as Victor mentioned, to answer your question, indeed, the Nations League has been absolutely transformational for our confederation. We designed and implemented Nations League as a way to offer all 41 member associations the opportunity to compete during a 4-year cycle and having more competitive matches. In the fact that they didn't have that opportunity in previous cycles, it meant that when they left World Cup qualification, they left idle competing for a few years. So now with the CONCACAF Nations League coming on board, they have the opportunity to have many more matches. All in all, we have more than doubled the amount of matches that our federations are playing between World Cup qualification and Nations League. So we're thrilled with the fact that this second edition is starting, and we're also very happy with the results of the first edition.
And let me tell you, the fans are enjoying the competition. I personally am. This competition is a key part of wider men's national team ecosystem in CONCACAF. Can you explain to us how it links to the historic Gold Cup?
Absolutely, Nancy. There's many important football elements to this competition. The first is that there's promotion and relegation, as Victor mentioned. So teams that finish last in Leagues A and Leagues B are relegated to the leagues below, and the teams that finish on top of their group in Leagues B and C are promoted to the leagues above. This means that there's more competitive balance, and that's certainly shown through in the first edition of the Nations League. The other important element is obviously the fact that we have the Nations League finals. So at the top end, the teams that finish on top of their Group A move on to the Nations League finals. That means it's a Final Four competition. We saw the first inaugural edition of the Nations League finals in Denver, and we were incredibly excited with the results. And then obviously the last element is the fact that it's through this competition that our member associations qualify to the Gold Cup. So this is the path. You need to perform on the field to see who is going to be in the 2023 Gold Cup through this edition. So a lot of excitement building up with it.
You know what, since I have you here, let me take it back to that final, because I still have heart palpitations from that Mexico-United States.
We all do, Lindsay.
Oh my goodness, what kind of match, an instant classic. But can you tell us which ones are your favorite parts or the highlights of that tournament?
Absolutely. There are so many great moments from the entire confederation in terms of the experiences that we saw. For me, as I think about Suriname qualifying, winning their group and qualifying for the first time to a Gold Cup. Grenada as well, winning their group and qualifying after many, many years to the Gold Cup again. Seeing the rivalry between the US and Canada unfold on their group stage, and also then continuing through World Cup qualification. And of course, we mentioned the Nations League finals, right? With that thrilling final where US beat Mexico and was crowned the champion of the inaugural Nations League. There's so many great moments across the entire competition, and obviously we expect some of those great moments in this second edition. But don't let me tell you all about it. Why don't we see some of these fantastic highlights from the first edition?
Los goles, la emoción, la pasión, momentos históricos que atesoramos todos. It's just incredible, the stories and the matches the Nations League has delivered. I cannot wait for the second edition to begin. Before continuing with tonight's official draw proceedings, we need to take a moment to recognize our first ever Concacaf Nations League champions, the United States. They had an extraordinary performance, not only in the semifinals where they defeated Honduras and Mexico in the championship game, but also throughout the entire group stage. Greg Berhalter's team finished up in League One, Group A, with 9 points. A key part of the success the United States had in Denver was thanks to a rising star from a region, Gio Reyna, one of my favorites, uno de mis favoritos. The Borussia Dortmund attacking midfielder participated in the Nations League semi-final and final. Prior to tonight's draw, we sat down with Gio and spoke to him about what it meant to participate in the finals, the significance of scoring versus Mexico in front of his family and playing on home soil.
My first trophy with the men's national team. And yeah, I think my first goal against Mexico is always one to remember. So yeah, it was a special night, and I'll remember it for a very, very long time. You're just locked in, really. For all of us, we're just ready to go against our biggest rivals in front of a huge crowd. So it was amazing. It was a really special night. My first goal in the Nations League, my first goal against Mexico. My role was kind of just to be around the goal and try to pick up on a second ball or something like that, like I did. I'm not really someone who's gonna win the header in the air. I was sort of hoping Weston, like he did, would do that, and then yeah, I was just there to clean it up and yeah, put it in. It was a huge goal. It was a crazy, crazy, crazy game. Yeah, it was just a great feeling to score against Mexico. My family was there. I think a lot of the family was there, so it was a really nice camp to have everyone in the States together after a long season with COVID and everything going on. So yeah, it was a nice way to cap off the season and my first goal against Mexico, and it won't be the last. Christian, it's a nice picture. Yeah, obviously that was after Christian's penalty, last-minute penalty or extra time penalty. We all just went crazy, and it turned into sort of an iconic photo of, I guess, maybe the table's turning a bit to this new generation that can hopefully start to be the kings of Concacaf. So from that tournament, I think it was a very, very mature game. So I think to see that side of soccer, where I think when I was more playing in league games, I think it was a little bit more free-flowing, where that type of soccer is a little bit more structured and, you know, trying not to make the mistake, trying to just make the game last as long as possible as a tie, or try to find that one more chance, where maybe in a league game you're trying to just be creative and do whatever you can, where, you know, in a final you can't really do that. So I think it was just a different type of game, well, that I've experienced before, but maybe not many times. And obviously my family, not only my dad, but obviously him playing, they all have the same passion and support and love for the U.S. men's national team. So just for all of them to be there, I'm sure they were just really proud, and it was a big moment for all of us.
Raises a trophy. The United States are Nations League champions.
Podemos decir que esto queda en familia. This is a family business. Thank you very much, Gio. He's an extraordinary player who will follow and enjoy for many years, including in the upcoming World Cup in Qatar at the end of the year. I hope England knows who is playing. Most of you following us today are familiar with the Nations League format, but for those who need their minds refreshed or are following that competition for the first time, let's quickly review the format.
2023 Concacaf Nations League, presented by Qatar Airways, consists of 3 leagues, A, B, and C. League A is composed of 4 groups of 3 teams. League B of 4 groups of 4 teams. And League C of 1 group of 4 teams and 3 groups of 3 teams. The distribution of the teams for each league has been determined based on the results of the 2019 Concacaf Nations League group stage. The top team from each 2019 League B and C group has been promoted, while the bottom team of each League A and B group has been relegated. The competition's group stage will be played during the FIFA match windows of June 2022 and March 2023, followed by the Concacaf Nations League finals, presented by Qatar Airways in June 2023. At the conclusion of home and away round-robin group stage play, the League A group winners will advance to the 2023 Concacaf Nations League finals. The Concacaf Nations League's group stage will continue to serve as the region's qualifier for the Concacaf Gold Cup. For League A, the top 2 teams from each group will qualify for the 2023 Gold Cup. These 8 teams will be joined by the League B group winners. The remaining 2023 Gold Cup participants will be determined via the 2023 Gold Cup prelims, which will feature the League A third-place finishers, League B second-place finishers, and League C group winners. CONCACAF, love for our game.
Based on the 2019 group stage results, the 3 leagues will be composed as shown on your screen. It's now time to welcome to the stage Carlos Fernandez, CONCACAF Director of Competition, who will be executing the draw. Hola, Carlos. Charlie.
Yes,
How are you, Charlie?
Very
You ready?
Good, very excited. Thank you for that introduction, and good evening to everyone watching us. It is a pleasure to be here with you for this important draw that will determine the groups of League A, B, and C of the Concacaf Nations League. To better understand the procedures for the draw, let's watch the following video.
The draws for Leagues A, B, and C of the 2022-2023 CONCACAF Nations League, presented by Qatar Airways, will be carried out using a single blind system. Based on the CONCACAF men's ranking, the participating teams have been divided into pots within their leagues as follows. For League C, 13 teams divided into 2 pots of 4 teams and 1 pot of 5 teams. For League B, 16 teams divided into 4 pots of 4 teams. And for League A, 12 teams divided into 3 pots of 4 teams. Always placing the highest ranked teams of each league in pot 1. The draw will begin by randomly selecting the highest ranked teams from pot 1 and positioning them into group positions A1, B1, C1, and D1 in sequential order. The same process will be followed for group positions 2, 3, and if applicable, 4 of each group. With the completion of the 3-stage draw, we'll have the final composition of all the groups for Leagues A, B, and C, officially kicking off the 2022-2023 CONCACAF Nations League. CONCACAF, love for our game.
Lindsay, to quickly recap, we'll be conducting 3 separate draws, 1 for each league. Teams participating in each league will have been divided into 3 pots according to their CONCACAF rankings as of March 2022. We will begin with the draw of League C, followed by Leagues B and A.
Carlos, everything is super clear, but unfortunately, you and I cannot pull the spheres from the pot. So, I have a solution. We're going to need some superstar assistant for that. We have 3 special guests here with us tonight. Each of them will be helping you with the draw. The first of them is a former Bermudan national team player. He represented his nation in the World Cup qualifying and Gold Cup, as well as the Nations League qualifying and group stage, where he scored versus Mexico. In total, he participated 30 times, scoring 6 goals. Please welcome Dante Lebaroc. We're so happy to have you here, Dante. Thank you for joining us. And yes, you scored against Mexico, lindo y querido. So you have a special dedication of that goal.
Yes, my baby boy, Eva, at home. That was a celebration for him. So I miss him. I can't wait to get back to him.
Wow. What a moment, right? To have that opportunity. You
Agree.
participate in the first Nations League. You play a total of 4 matches and score 1 goal versus Mexico. What did this mean for you?
Yeah, it was a great experience and a great honor to be playing against a top team in the region. Small Bermuda, competing at the top level. It was a privilege for all of us, and I know they're working hard to get back to that stage as well.
Can you handle him now?
Of course.
Okay, so I'm going to step aside. Carlos, it's all yours.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Dante. Welcome for this to begin for this draw of League C. To determine now the teams in the groups A, B, C, and D. As previously explained, the 13 participating teams in League C have been divided into 3 pots according to their CONCACAF rankings, with the highest ranked teams being in pot 1 and the lowest ranked teams in pot 3. Let's review each team of these pots. In leagues, in pot 1, we have St. Kitts and Nevis, Puerto Rico, Bonaire, and St. Lucia. In pot 2, we have Dominica, Aruba, Cayman Islands, Turk and Caicos Islands, and in pot 3, we have St. Martin, U.S. Virgin Islands, Anguilla, and British Virgin Islands. And with that, Dante, we're ready to start. So if you can do the honors, let's go to pot 1, and let's determine the first team of Group A.
Bonaire.
Bonaire's top scorers in the Nations League are Edshel Martha, Jurek Spain, with 2 goals each.
Thank you, Dante. Let's continue with pot 1, which will determine now the first team in Group B.
St. Kitts and Nevis.
St. Kitts and Nevis advanced to the second round of 2022 FIFA World Cup qualifying after winning 3 matches.
Let's continue, please, Dante, the third sphere of that pot and first team of Group C.
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, Kurt Frederick scores first CNL group stage goal in a 1-1 tie versus Montserrat.
And the final sphere of pot 1 to confirm should be Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico finishes inaugural CNL participation with 2 wins against Anguilla and 2 losses to group winners Guatemala.
Let's continue, Dante, then, please. Let's go to pot 2 to know the team that is going to be joining Group A and Bonaire.
Turks and Caicos Islands.
Turks and Caicos Island earned 2 victories in 2019 versus San Martin, including 3-2 in Provinciales and 2-5 in Curaçao.
Once again, let's draw the spheres of pot 2.
Aruba.
Aruba had an historic 3-1 win over Bermuda and battled Guadalupe to a draw in 2018 Nations League qualifying.
Let's continue with the draw, please, Dante. And the third sphere of pot 2.
Dominica.
Culminated its League V participation with a 1-0 win over St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
And now the final sphere, and to confirm, it should be Cayman Islands.
Cayman Islands.
The Caymanians had a strong performance in 2019, winning 4 matches, including victories against U.S. Virgin Islands, Barbados, and San Martin.
All right, Dante, this is it to determine the last teams in each one of these groups.
U.S. Virgin Islands.
Goals by Aaron Dennis and Roger Jobson gave the Caribbean island a 2-1 victory over San Martin.
Dante, let's continue with pot 3, please.
St. Martin.
The Dutch, San Martin. French St. Martin, sorry.
A hat trick from Yannick Belliches helped San Martin earn his first League C win.
Thank you, Dante. And let's know now the third sphere of Pot C.
Anguilla.
Anguilla, the Caribbean island, narrowly fell to Puerto Rico 3-2 in October 2019. Goals were scored by Lake Bryan and Morgan.
One more sphere for Pot 3 and the last team in Group D.
British Virgin Islands.
Secure a 2-2 draw with Turks and Caicos on the final day of Concacaf Nations League qualification.
And now with the last sphere and the last team to go into Group A.
Saint Martin.
Forward Greenwich Lake scored an impressive 5 goals in 4 matches. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, the league. Great, Dante. Thank you so much. The groups are now set, Carlos.
That's right. In Group A, we have Bonaire, Turks and Caicos Islands, U.S. Virgin Islands, and St. Martin.
In Group B, we had St. Kitts and Nevis, Aruba, and San Martin.
And Group C, we have St. Lucia, Dominica, and Anguilla.
And in Group D, we have Puerto Rico, Cayman Island, and British Virgin Island.
There we go.
Thank you so much, Dante. It was a pleasure having you here too. Now it's time to introduce our second guest, who will be assisting Carlos with the League B draw. He's one of the best players in the history of Costa Rica. He represented his national team from 1998 to 2008, scoring 45 goals, including 1 in the 2002 World Cup and 2 in Germany 2006. At club level, he started his career in Herediano, followed by a successful tenure in the English Premier League, as well as a number of clubs in Asia, South America, and North America. As a coach, he managed the national team of Costa Rica after the World Cup 2014. Please welcome Paulo César Wanchope. ¡Pura vida! ¡Qué alegría tenerte aquí, Paulo César! ¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo te sientes en esta segunda edición de lo que ha sido una emocionante Concacaf Nations League?
Muy bien, contento de estar acá, honrado de estar con todos ustedes y esperando a ver qué suerte les llevo a las elecciones.
De Centroamérica. Vamos a ver, Paulo, no hay duda que esta competencia está transformando el fútbol masculino de nuestra región. Específicamente para Centroamérica, vimos como Costa Rica y Honduras clasificaron a las finales y compitieron hasta el último minuto. Sí, pusieron a sufrir a los supuestamente grandes México y Estados Unidos. Le compitieron de tú a tú. En la Liga B, El Salvador ha logrado el ascenso a la Liga A, seguido de Guatemala a la Liga B. ¿Qué podemos esperar de todos estos equipos centroamericanos mientras compiten por un lugar en las finales y en la Copa Oro 2023?
Mucho crecimiento. Yo creo que el área ha invertido mucho y hemos visto a Guatemala, Salvador creciendo, Nicaragua haciendo esfuerzos y esperemos que para este torneo pues, podamos dar una mejor competencia.
Muchísimas gracias. Qué gusto tenerte aquí, qué orgullo. Y bueno, Carlos, ¿qué crees?
De vuelta.
Es todo tuyo.
Muchas gracias, Lindsay. Thank you again. Bienvenido, Paulo. Es un gusto tenerte aquí con nosotros. Feliz noche. Now, with Paulo's help, we will be conducting the draw for League B. The 16 teams of League B have been divided into 4 pots. So in order for us to review which teams are in which pot, let's start with pot 1, which we have Haiti, Guatemala, Trinidad and Tobago, and Cuba. In pot 2, we have French Guiana, Guadeloupe, Nicaragua, and Bermuda. In pot 3, we have Antigua and Barbuda, Guyana, República Dominicana, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And in pot 4, we have Belize, Montserrat, Barbados, and Bahamas. So, Paulo, with that, we're ready to start the draw of League B. So please, let's go into pot 1 and let's determine the first team of Group A.
Okay. Cuba.
Cuba, the 2012 Caribbean champions, have enjoyed success in the Gold Cup, having played 9 of the last 13 editions.
Paulo,
Okay.
let's continue with pot 1, please. And to know the team position B1.
Okay. Haiti.
Haiti, after a perfect record in qualification, Haiti competed in League A for the inaugural Concacaf Nations League edition.
Paulo, let's keep going with pot 1. And let's draw the third sphere of that pot.
A ver. Trinidad and Tobago.
The Soca Warriors finished bottom of League A, Group C, with 2 draws and 2 losses.
And finally,
Last one.
last but not least, the last sphere of pot 1, which should be
Último.
Guatemala.
Amigos. Guatemala.
Guatemala, Los Chapines, the team rolled through its group in League C, beating group rivals Puerto Rico and Anguilla, both home and away, with an impressive plus 25 goal difference.
Thank you, Paulo. Now let's move into pot 2
Okay.
to know the first team joining Cuba in Group A.
A ver. Guadalupe.
Guadalupe, the Guanabos, ranked 17 in CONCACAF, burst onto the scene in 2007, making a remarkable run to a 4th place finish in the Gold Cup.
Let's continue with pot 2, Paulo, please.
Bermuda.
Bermuda finished bottom of its group, but put a scare in both Panama and Mexico, veterans of the region.
Paulo,
Okay.
let's draw the third sphere of pot 2 to know who will be joining Trinidad and Tobago.
Next one. Vecinos. Nicaragua.
Nicaragua earned 7 points from 6 matches in Group B to retain its League B membership.
And the last
Last
sphere,
one.
which should be French Guyana. Let's confirm that, please.
French Guyana.
Jesse Morigord scored twice in French Guyana, 3-1 win over St. Kitts and Nevis to close their 2019 CNL participation.
Paulo, now let's move into
Tres.
pot 3 so we can
Sí.
continue with this draw and know the third
Okay.
pot teams.
Antigua and Barbuda.
Antigua and Barbuda, 3 wins versus Guyana and Aruba, prolonged their stay in League B.
Thank you, Paulo. Let's continue now with the second sphere of pot 3. Joining Haiti and Bermuda.
Bermuda. Guyana.
A loss and a draw to Jamaica and a defeat versus Antigua and Barbuda meant Guyana will remain in League B for the upcoming matches.
Paulo, please, let's do the honors for the third sphere of pot 3.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Finished 2nd place in its League B group, earning a spot in 2021 Gold Cup prelims where they fell to Haiti.
And Paulo, for the last sphere of pot
Último.
3, joining Guatemala and French Guyana.
Va a ser Dominican Republic.
La República Dominicana finished 3rd place in League B, which also included El Salvador, Montserrat, and San Lucio.
Paulo, now let's finish with pot 4 so we can close all of the groups in League B.
Vamos a ver. Barbados.
Currently ranked 33rd in CONCACAF, Barbados earned promotion to League B for 2022-2023.
Let's continue with the draw, please, Paulo.
A ver. Montserrat.
Montserrat, the Emerald Isle, finished second in Group B with a 2-2-2 record and earned a spot in the Gold Cup prelims.
Paulo, let's please draw the third sphere of pot 4.
Vamos a ver. Bahamas.
Bahamas achieved promotion to League B by going undefeated with 3 wins and a draw.
And Paulo, with that, we
El
only have one
último.
team left. Let's confirm that that's Belize into Group D.
Belize.
The Central American nation earned 2 victories in 2019, 2-0 against French Guiana and a 0-1 at St. Kitts and Nevis. Ahí lo tienen, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. The League B groups are now set. Many thanks to Paulo. It was a pleasure having you here tonight. But let's review them.
Of course, in Group A, we have Cuba, Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, and Barbados.
Group B, Haiti, Bermuda, Guyana, and Montserrat, Haiti.
And in Group C, we have Trinidad and Tobago, Nicaragua, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Bahamas.
In Group D, we have Guatemala, sí, los Chapines, French Guiana, Dominican Republic, la República Dominicana, y Belice. Our third and final guest who will assist you, Carlos, Mr. Charlie, with the draw for League for the League A, scored 25 goals in 67 appearances with the Mexican national team, including 2 FIFA World Cups. With Mexico, he lifted the Gold Cup trophy in 2015, and won a gold medal in the London 2012 Summer Olympics. At club level, he scored 176 goals in 572 appearances. Oh my God, how many numbers are together to present this man? He won 2 CONCACAF Championship Leagues with Club America and a total of 5 league titles with León, with America, and Santos. America, yes, America. Bueno, ya escucho hasta la canción. Let's welcome, you know who, Oribe Peralta. Okay, this applause is for you, Oribe. Cepillo Peralta, but can I call you Brosh since this is in English, right?
Sí, sí, sí.
Can you be Brosh and Cepillo? ¿Cómo estás?
It
Bienvenido a este draw. Welcome.
Muy bien, muchas gracias por la invitación y un placer estar acá con ustedes.
Emocionado por saber dónde le va a tocar a México,
Sí,
¿no?
sí,
Ahora que
muy
está calentito eso de los
nerviosito,
draw.
nervioso.
Oribe, como jugador de la selección mexicana, te viniste viviste más bien dicho, muchas de las rivalidades que hay en nuestra región. En tu opinión, ¿qué tan importante es que los jugadores jóvenes que están comenzando sus carreras experimenten este tipo de rivalidades en contra de Estados Unidos, Canadá, Honduras y, bueno, otras selecciones importantes de la región?
Más que la rivalidad, creo que deben de enfocarse en la competitividad que van a tener en este tipo de torneos. Los va a hacer aumentar su experiencia y buscar en un futuro cumplir todos los sueños que ellos tengan a través del fútbol.
Y bueno, ¿quién mejor que tú para saber cómo estará el merequetengue? Who better than you to know what's going to happen in this wonderful edition? Are you ready?
I'm ready.
So there you go. Here's Brosh, here's Charlie.
Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. And Oribe, es un gusto tenerte nuevamente en uno de nuestros sorteos. Gracias por estar con nosotros. Now, with Oribe's help, we will be conducting the draw for League A. The 12 teams participating in League A have been divided into 3 pots. The teams in Pot 1 are Mexico, United States, Canada, Costa Rica. In Pot 2, we have Panama, Jamaica, El Salvador, Honduras. And in pot 3, we have Martinique, Curacao, Suriname, and Grenada. So with that, Oribe, please let's do the honors and let's start with pot 1 to determine the first team in Group A.
México.
The two-time FIFA World Cup quarterfinalists and 8-time Gold Cup winners will look to lift their first CNL title.
Thank you, Oribe. Let's now determine the team in Group B.
Costa Rica.
Pura vida, los Ticos landed in the finals of the first ever Nations League by winning Group A.
Thank you, Oribe. Let's continue with pot 1, please, to determine team C1 in Group C.
Canadá.
The octagonal winners will look to transfer their World Cup qualifying success to the Nations League. John Herman's team finished second in its group, behind the United States.
And the final sphere of pot 1 to confirm that should be USA.
Estados Unidos.
The reigning Gold Cup and Nations League champions defeated rival Mexico at the first ever Concacaf Nations League finals. Christian Pulisic scored the winning goal.
Oribe, now let's start with pot 2 to know the team that is going to be joining Mexico in Group A.
Jamaica.
Jamaica, los Reggae Boys, the 2015 and 2017 Gold Cup finalists have been promoted to League A by going undefeated in 2019 League B group.
Oribe, let's continue with the draw, please. And determine the team that goes into Group B.
Panamá.
Panama, la Marea Roja, retained its spot in League A after a second-place finish in its group.
Thank you, Oribe. Let's proceed with the third sphere of this pot.
Honduras.
Honduras went undefeated in its League A group on the way to the Final Four, where they locked in a third-place finish with a win over Costa Rica.
And let's confirm the last sphere, which should be El Salvador.
Salvador.
La Selecta will be participating in League A of CNL following 5 wins and a loss in League B.
Oribe, let's continue with pot 3, please, and let's determine the last teams of these groups, starting with Group A and the team that will be joining Mexico and Jamaica.
Suriname.
Suriname earned a first ever slot in the 2021 Gold Cup thanks to a strong performance in the Nations League, earning 4 wins on a draw.
Oribe, please, let's continue with this draw. And the team that will be joining Costa Rica and Panama is
Martinica.
Martinique finished second in its League A group with 3 ties, securing a slot in 2021 Gold Cup.
Oribe, let's now determine the third team of Group C.
Curazao.
Curacao finished just 1 point off the lead in Group B. That led to a third consecutive berth in the Gold Cup.
And now, Oribe, the last one.
The last one.
Which should be Grenada.
Grenada.
Grenada top Group A and a ticket to the top league thanks to a hat trick from Jamal Charles against Belize. There you have it. The League A groups are now set. Let's review it, Charlie.
Of course. So in Group A, we have Mexico, Jamaica, and Suriname.
Group B, Costa Rica, Panama, Martinica.
Group C, we have Canada, Honduras, and Curacao.
Group D, United States, El Salvador y Grenada. Muchas gracias, Oribe. Fue un placer tenerte aquí esta noche. Gracias por haber estado con nosotros.
Placer.
Ya listos para la segunda edición, ¿no? Mira dónde dejaste a México parado. En el grupo A. Jamaica y Surinam.
Correcto.
Carlos, with this, we end tonight's event. Muchísimas gracias a ti también. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. You and to our special guests, to everyone for tuning in for tonight's Concacaf Nations League draw. We wish the teams, coaches, and players the best of luck in this tournament. Don't forget to tune in today at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for the presentation of the 2021 Concacaf Award. I will be joining my friend Alejandro Berry to reveal the winners of the best female and male players in the region. You will be able to follow the show on your favorite CONCACAF platform. Have a great night. Thank you so much. Thank you.